Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only PDawgKnight.
Hey there, hi there, ho there. No, I didn't call you a hoe. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet. Welcome back to the PDawgKnight Channel, where I see some faces that aren't here as often as I am used to, and I'm glad to see you here. So this is a good thing that I'm starting to see some faces come back and show up here now and then. It's a great thing, and so we'll talk about that. But we got a lot to talk about, and I had not a lot of time to do it just because of my weird schedule that's been making it harder and harder for me to start on time. Well, there is no on time. On time is when I start the show. But it's always going to be around 10 o'clock Eastern, give or take whatever time that is. Hi, how y'all doing? Happy Tuesday. I guess Kash Patel's testifying before the Senate committee or something today or tomorrow, whatever. And there's some senators who have some questions. I'm sure they're going to ask him about the Epstein files and other shit like that. But there's other stuff going on that I want to talk about that are important to me and to our nation. Namely, me saying no to some things that I don't like the trend, and it's when I use the term woke right, these are the kind of things I'm talking about. So that's foreshadowing. Let's say hi to everybody and get this thing going. First in the chat today, of course, Avocados Diablo gets the bell. And he says he spent the last 10 hours lying on the kitchen floor, unable to even stand, having a vertigo attack. Oh, that sucks, man. I hope you're doing okay. I don't get vertigo attacks, but every once in a while I'll get a leg cramp and no one in the house is here, and I literally have to lay on the floor for, maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes max. So I can't imagine doing it for 10 hours. Oh, dude, I hope you're doing okay. May God's blessings be upon you, sir. I'm glad you're up and at 'em, though. So, then, yeah, good thing you didn't have to pee. Yeah, that's true. Oh, has that when I've had a cramp and you're like, oh, it hurts so bad and you can't even stand up to walk, but you have to pee. So you go and you get in the bathroom, and the wall in the little bathroom in the main floor is not long enough for you to stretch a leg out to the length you need to, but you got to pee really bad. It just hurts. And you're like, ah. Anyway, yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling, ooh, when you gotta pee and you're not able to, cause the situation you're in is gonna screw you over, yeah, I wrote that. Anyway, there are other people here besides you, ADs, so let's just say who. Good morning, Louis, and also Attack Alpaca, Resolute Germ. The Pope is here with an inspirational message. Yes, Pope Tyrannius III, the blessed lich, who says, blessing of the sacred dead. He gives us dreams to inspire us. He gives us sad to teach us about happiness. He gives us obstacles to temper us. Remember, steel must be heated and hammered to create. That's the end of the sentence. I'm sorry. I kind of got stuck there. Good morning, Raymond Lewis. Welcome back. I didn't know Ray Lewis watched this show. Ray Lewis, the great linebacker for the Baltimore Colts. No, not Baltimore Colts. What is Baltimore? Baltimore is the Ravens now. I guess it's been a long time since they were the Baltimore Colts. I can't believe I said that. God, dog. And the St. Louis Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams, who are now again the Los Angeles Rams, but they were the St. Louis Rams for a while. It's funny because my wife, the other day, said something about, oh my gosh, I can't wait, Los Angeles Rams. I just never get used to that. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. They were originally the Los Angeles Rams before they moved to St. Louis, before they moved back to Los Angeles, after the St. Louis Cardinals moved to Phoenix. And what was the team that Seattle's expansion franchise, or was that a team that moved and changed their name? I can't remember. But it's all that good. Anyway, also hello to who else? Oh my gosh, I gotta do this backwards here. Raymond, by the way, welcome. I know you're not that Ray Lewis. Also, sure you gospels here. It's Lord Stanhope, Cannibalistic Wizard. Welcome back. Oh, you've been gone for a while. What's up? Mike Savage, Blarg, Blue Eyed Screams, Shrapnel's in the house. Midnight, what up, Midnight? How you doing? Cashapp, good morning, Kirsten. Lord Stanhope, I said it right, I think. Looking forward to that Cash Patel hearing at 9 a.m. on C-SPAN. Should be interesting to see. Yeah, it's already started, I think, didn't it? Yeah, 9 p.m. Eastern. So it's been going on for an hour or so. Let's see. Ms. Wild Wolf, what's up? Green Badger Outdoors, Reaction Puerto Rico. And who else? Boy, there's a lot of people here. Y'all jumped in right away. Spidey Man's back. What up, Spidey? And I think I got that, everybody. So there you go. Oh, it's 9 p.m.? No, isn't that... Okay, hang on a second. Hang on. Hold up. Wait a minute. By the way, I should probably put the old thing over here. Let me just come here. I didn't even look through the aggregator today. I opened a bunch of Charlie Kirk shit because that's the only thing anything's really talking about. Let's see. Let's look. Let's go YouTube. I'm pretty sure that hearing's going on right now. Hello, Rick Ashbringer. What's up? Cash. That's all I got to put. Cash Patel. There should be some live shit going on right now. No? Yeah, here is, let's see. I don't want to open the AP. I'd rather watch it on C-SPAN because, here, let's do this. C-SPAN. Cash Patel, C-SPAN, live hearing. Oh, maybe it's not on C-SPAN. CNBC, PBS. How about PBS? Let's watch a little bit of this just out of curiosity.
Seems to be motivated.
I'm going to watch it later, though.
Religious hatred.
Specifically, sir, we have 60 anti-Catholic hate crime incidences.
I was kind of hoping I'd have
investigated.
Adam Schiff
publicly. I can tell you we have 5 hate crime investigations with anti-Catholic.
No, stop!
In the cities of Kansas City.
I'm going to mute this second. Hate crime legislation. Fuck that noise. I'm sorry. If it's someone that's incitement, great. But we're going to talk about hate speech today because I'm kind of pissed off. I'm pissed off at these people acting like leftists. Hello, Darren Root. What up? Anyway, back to this shit.
Churches or other houses of worship.
Senator, you raise an incredibly important point that most people don't look at. I've always said we follow the money. And whether it's terrorism or attacks based on ideology or attacks on institutions of faith or people of faith, someone's paying for it. And we are reverse tracing those steps. We are not stopping at the perpetrator themselves. We are reverse engineering to hold those accountable in our investigations to who funded them and knowingly funded them. And we will bring the appropriate steps against them with our partners at DOJ.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. We look forward to hearing reports on that progress.
No.
Sorry about that.
Why are you being interrupted?
Let me just ask you this in the same vein, Director. Since the Dobbs decision, the FBI has advertised $25,000 rewards for information on attacks on abortion clinics. Will the FBI similarly offer rewards for information on attacks of houses of worship?
Yes, when it is appropriate. The rewards are any reward, whether it's an attack on a house of faith.
Okay, I'm bored already. I'll wait until we have I'll wait until after. I'm gonna watch this later and just take out some excerpts, and we'll talk about it tomorrow because it's hard to watch these hearings just live unless there's some really good questioners. Now, not that who is that? Hawley's not a good questioner, but I always like to hear the opposition party do questions because they're usually they try to with the gotchas, and I'm pretty sure they're going to want to talk about Epstein, which I hope they do. I hope he has some answers. I guarantee he doesn't because they're not going to talk about that. Somehow, look about that Epstein shit too. I'm all over the place. I really hope that the reason they're not putting stuff out there is because they have some investigations and some perp walks to do. That's what should be happening. But who knows? Who knows if that's going to happen? It's very annoying. And look, I don't care who's on that list. And I mean, I don't care who's on that list. Some people need to be prosecuted. So there you go. Wait, I'm not streaming on X. No, I'm not. I know I don't usually stream on X. I did put the notification out though on X. So anyway, all right, let's I think I've said hi to everybody that I can find. Let's get into the show because this is definitely not it. I'll still have a link to the C-SPAN Senate hearing, or who's this? PBS's version of the hearing, and it'll be in the links today. All right, let's get started because I'm wasting time here. I didn't pick a specific holiday to talk about today, but here's some of the holidays that you can enjoy if you are an American or even not an American, because not all of these are just American holidays. But today is National Choose Your Chocolate Day. I don't know what that means. It's versus National Chocoholics Day versus National Eat Your Chocolate Day. But anyway, enjoy some chocolate. Today is also National Guacamole Day. National Play-Doh Day. Play-Doh. Love me some Play-Doh. My daughter has a good Play-Doh recipe. She makes homemade Play-Doh, I think. Working Parents Day. Well, I'm working and a parent, although the kids are no longer at home. National Tattoo Story Day. What the hell does that mean? Mexican Independence Day. This is the real Mexican Independence Day. Celebrate Mexican Independence Day with a fiesta. That means a party if you're not familiar with Espanol. And Collect Rocks Day. My wife collects rocks sometimes. We collected rocks from different places we were in Europe, and because some of our friends collect rocks, we brought some home for them. And we were at this one place, from the Rock of Gibraltar. Do you know that the Rock of Gibraltar, that big giant thing sticking out of the ground 1,000 feet in the air in Gibraltar, the separate country that's connected to Spain? Did you know the whole thing is granite? Do you know how many freaking granite countertops you can make out of that thing? Anyway, we brought some granite from there. World Barber Day, World Ozone Day, National Step Family Day, Feast Portland, until Antifa comes and bonks you on the head. It's still Petru Paksha Day. What the hell? Does this day ever end? Holy shit. Mayflower Day honor the brave pilgrims who set sail on a journey of hope, an opportunity that would shape American history forever. And Anne Bradstreet today, the famous poet. There you go. There's the holidays. Enough about that. Mouse is not working again. Come on, mouse. There we go. All right. And then I often do a celebrate birthday, but today we had breaking news this morning that the great actor, Renee Mayette, by the way, the great actor, Mr. Robert Redford, passed away this morning. And so Rest in Peace Legend is trending right now, and lots of stuff about Robert Redford. Robert Redford has died. Here's the variety. Robert Redford has died at 89 years old. The film icon starred in classic movies such as Bush, Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, and won an Oscar for directing Ordinary People, and founded the Sundance Film Institute. I didn't realize he founded Sundance. So he's passed away at 89 years old. If you have a favorite Robert Redford movie, drop it in the chat. There's a lot of them in here. I personally thought The Natural was an awesome movie, but I like sports movies. Trying to think. Let's see. There was a list here of a bunch of his best films. He was in All the President's Men. He did Ordinary People. He was great, and I loved The Natural. He wasn't in Dirty Harry. Come on, Baron. That's not even funny. Let's see. But some of the ones that people are talking about, obviously The Natural was a great movie. Jeremiah Johnson, that has one of the best memes that's being used over and over again on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. In fact, that was my Let's Go meme today. Here's one. Here's Brubaker. I forgot about Brubaker. Sneakers, All Is Lost, Spy Game, Lion for Lambs, The Sting. Oh, that was a good one too. I enjoyed that with him and Jackie Gleason and all those guys. 3 Days of the Condor, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. He was in Winter Soldier. Now, I know he was in that last Captain America movie, which was terrible. And by the way, that's not one of his top 10 movies. Unless they're talking about box office, I don't think so. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, classic, and All the President's Men. So rest in peace, Robert Redford. A lot of his films are trending. Let's move on, though. Mehdi Hasan, dickbag, is trending. Winter Soldier. Was he in that one too? He played wasn't he the president, Winter Soldier? Yeah, no. Jeremiah Johnson and The Last Castle. Oh, The Last Castle. I didn't think about that one. I don't know if I've seen that. Mehdi Hasan is trending. And, yesterday we spent the whole day debunking that stupid ADL study. But there are still tons of people who are out there quoting it. And I guess Mehdi Hasan was on a show with Chris Cuomo yesterday. And so he's touting whatever he said on that show. Let's see. He posted this. Let's see what it is. Because, whatever. Mehdi Hasan. He's a dickhead, but here we go.
How would you analyze what you're hearing in response to this murder from the left?
From the left?
Yeah.
Just listening to the clips you played from the Trump administration, we're in a very dark moment. It's very macabre.
He didn't ask you that. The people who are out there saying this is great. It's great. And there's James Conley and Charlie Kirk was murdered. Yay, hooray. They're celebrating. But anyway.
That moment right now.
By the way, I may agree with Mehdi Hasan on something here. So you might be shocked, but
To your show, you made a lot of good points. The biggest point I think you've glossed over is the crackdown on free speech. This targeting of people for their views. I thought Charlie Kirk was supposed to be a free speech martyr. Why are the right using his death to crack down on free speech and American rights and go after this amorphous left? J.D. Vance lied today on the Charlie Kirk show when he said the statistics are clear that this is a left-wing problem. It's the exact reverse.
That's not what he said, dickhead.
Reverse. You look at the ADL Center.
There it is! There it is! There it is! The ADL studies of extremist related violence, like just violence that had nothing to do with their extremism. Just one guy bopped a guy over the head in a car shop because they had a dispute over of the bill, and he killed him. And they call it extremist related violence because he had prison tattoos that said he was part of a white supremacist prison gang. The whole thing is filled with that sort of crap. And I had an argument with Grok yesterday about this, which is funny because Grok is just an AI bot, right? But it was pretty funny because let's fix that. There we go. Grok responded to me going, "Oh yeah, I didn't think of that." No shit. I'll talk to you about. I may show that later. Anyway, but I agree with him that this whole stuff that they're talking about, cracking down on speech and hate speech and whatever, let the consequences of these people who say stupid, fucked up shit stand on their own. We don't need to have any government involvement in hate speech. So I'm going to agree with him on that one point.
44 people killed by extremists between 2013 and 2022, 75% of them by the right.
All bullshit. All bullshit. Again, the ones that they call from the right-wing extremes, have nothing to do with political violence. As we demonstrated yesterday, I could go through all 10 years of the studies that I have of that study that they repeat over and over just so they can make a headline every year, just so they can say, oh, right-wings are more dangerous, blah, blah, blah. It's all bullshit. So anyway. But so the fact that he's touting the ADL study, which I bet he's actually read it and knows it's bullshit, but it's a talking point because every news outlet, when the ADL does the press release and sends it to all the mainstream media outlets, they all tout the headline. Well, all the extremist murders in this year, all of them, without putting the numbers in the headline. That's the other thing they do. They don't put the numbers in the headline. They put like the percentage little pie graphs and shit. And the headline never says, oh, we're talking about 12 incidents in 2022, which only one of them had anything to do with ideology. They don't tell you that part in the headline, but everyone reads that headline and goes, oh, yeah, the ADL said that all the extremist violence extremist-related murders were from the extreme right. It's a bullshit headline, and he knows exactly what he's doing, because I guarantee you he's read it and knows the study is bullshit.
The University of Maryland study that was done for their terrorism center, which found that from 1948 to 2018, right-wing extremists more likely to carry out violence than left.
Oh, more likely. Oh, really? And also, by the way, their definition of what's extremist is also very biased, because they don't consider some stuff that's extremist, even when it's clearly something from the left. So it's amazing. It's just amazing but again, this is the way you lie with statistics. This is the way you win, by doing kind of a statistic propaganda campaign, which the ADL has been doing for the last 10 years. And the University of Maryland study, I'm sure that there's no bias in that one either. Anyway, here we go.
Extremists. You look at the head of the FBI, who Donald Trump appointed, Chris Wray, who said the #1 domestic terror threat in this country comes from religious and racially motivated extremists, specifically white supremacists.
And yet, they can't name the incidents. There are no incidents. There's very few. And if you look, even if you count, say, school events, or like do they look at the political leanings of every single murder that happens? Because the ADL doesn't. They just find the ones that obviously they can find easily. But if let's say there's 5,000 murders in a year, are they going to every single murder to find out the political philosophy of this person, or they just happen to find one? Oh, this one had white supremacist tattoos, so there's one. We can count that one. Because they're extremist related murders, not extremist philosophical disagreement murders. So again,
you can keep going. The National Institute for Justice found that the majority of incidents since 1990, violent terroristic acts.
And by the way,
single biggest political violence.
The one thing that J.D. Vance said, he said, left wing are much more likely to celebrate political violence. There's plenty of evidence for that. I didn't hear anybody celebrating the violence on January 6th. Celebrating it? No. I don't hear there's a few crackpots on both sides that will celebrate if someone on the right or left dies, but not like this outpouring of celebration for the murder of Charlie Kirk. So again, he's conflating little ADL studies with what J.D. Vance said. That's enough of that. But anyway, that's why Mehdi Hassan's trending. But there is a place here where I agree with him regarding the hate speech thing. We'll get to that later. All right, let's go. I'm going to back up here because I did not say thank you to the people who are sharing the show yet, which includes, well, let's scroll back here. Okay, we're going to start with the Daily Woo. Thank you, Ty Alexander, with the Daily Woo. I'm reposting these as we talk. Resolute Germ with a little Brock Lesnar out there, the Daily Wrestler, just the individual wrestlers. I know who Brock Lesnar is because I live in Minnesota, and everyone in Minnesota knows who Brock Lesnar is because he was amazing NCAA wrestling champ from the University of Minnesota. Reaction on Puerto Rico with the little Crocodile Dundee. Now for a second I thought it was Robert Redford, but it is within the theme of my theme of rugged outdoorsman, and so I did catch that at Reaction on Puerto Rico. Also Ms. Wild Wolf with the Let's Go Happy there, and the Daily Kitty, the kitty cat with the sunglasses, how cute. And thanks to the people who retweeted my tweet, Ms. Wild Wolf, Reaction on Puerto Rico, Kirsten Shull, K-Shull, Resolute Germ, and Tyre Alexander. Also Green Badger Outdoors with the flight time Let's Go, awesome. And that's it. So thanks to people sharing the show. If you can still share the show or want to sponsor the show, there's ways to do it. You can find it in the chat. Good morning, Selected Boy. Yeah, boy. Welcome. All right. Mehdi Hassan, we did that one. Who's next? Nick Fuentes is trending because there's a bevy of dickheads on the internet who can't seem to cope with the fact that this Tyler Robson might not have had the same political affiliations or desires as his family, because, my God, never do kids rebel from the political ideologies of their family. And so there's a bit, for a minute there was a bunch of people who were saying, oh, no, this guy's probably a groyper, a Nick Fuentes, alkalite, whatever. And so for a couple days until the governor kind of shit in their Cheerios, the governor from, what's his name? Governor from Utah. This was the kind of thing that people were talking about. They were saying, oh, this is the most spot on explanation what happened to disaffected Gen Z boys in America I've heard yet. There's a shitload of Tyler Robinson, the USD band in Milo Yiannopoulos, Nick Fuentes, and Charlie Kirk created a Frankenstein monster that is now out of control, claiming that this guy was a Nick Fuentes groyper type person that killed Charlie Kirk because he hated him from the right. And so someone here says, if MAGA wants to know who weaponized Tyler Robinson, it came from their own ignorant, dangerous group, which, first of all, nobody in MAGA likes Nick Fuentes. They hate that fucker. But anyway, he claims to be on the right, even though he takes it in the ass. It wasn't the left. It was warring factions within their own house trying to out crazy each other. Nick Fuentes says Kirk had money and shows, but he had shooters. Okay, anyway, so the idea, oh my God. For those unclear about the difference between Fuentes and Ben Shapiro doesn't hate anybody. Hates Muslims, hates LGBTQ, hates immigrants, hates women, far-right nationalism. No, that's not. These people are just so cracked out of their mind. Here's the thing, okay? Because a lot of people are saying Charlie Kirk is far right. Let's see. Charlie Kirk doesn't like abortion, okay? That's kind of been part of the Republican platform forever. Charlie Kirk believes in free speech. That's kind of the Republican platform forever. Low taxes, that's Republican platform. Generally thinks marriage is between a man and woman, which has always kind of been a Republican thing, although most Republicans this day, and especially MAGA people, don't give a fuck about gay marriage anymore. In fact, a lot of MAGA people are very welcoming of the gay and lesbian people that are within the ranks of conservative politics, because a lot of them have come over because the Democrats and left-wingers are so fucking nuts these days. And then, all this stuff that they say that we supposedly hate, they have this fever dream that we hate people. And no, it's just we just disagree with you sometimes, even though we accept you for what you are. We don't really give a shit, but the only way you can dismiss us is by saying, oh, we hate these people. No, we don't. And if you've listened to Charlie, well, look, I was a detractor of Charlie Kirk. You know that I say I'm not a big fan of him. I agree with some, whatever. Over the last few days, though, I've been watching a lot of things that he said, and the way people package it, depending on if they're on the left and the right. A lot of people on the left package little snippets of quotes that on their own, if that was the only words that came out of his mouth, sound really, really bad. And then I find people on the right are saying, that's bullshit. Here's the entire quote. And then you get the full conversation that he was having. You go, oh, in context, that's a reasonable thing, even if you disagree with it. And I'm finding that a lot with Charlie Kirk. In fact, I watched his, he did the debate at Oxford University and over in jolly old England. And he was brilliant. Now, did I agree with every single point he made? No, but he wasn't, there was nothing hateful about what he said. And I've been watching a lot of clips from him talking to people at these college campuses. And he's not hateful. In fact, he's very engaging with people who he probably disagrees with. He's very kind, and there was no hate in the guy. And so I've come to respect Charlie Kirk more since he's died, because I've actually listened to a lot of stuff he said and got the context of some of the things that I was questioning, going, that sounds terrible. And I'm like, oh, that's what he was really saying, because I've never heard the whole clip. All I've seen is lefties post clips of him saying stuff, and I didn't always check out what the entire thought was. So yeah, so the idea though that this kid was a Nick Fuentes alkalite has been blown out of the window by the fact that the kid had a live-in boyfriend who was becoming a girlfriend. That probably may have been a bigger motive than anything that the Groypers would have put on. Although Nick is a little bit closeted. Anyway, thank you, Avocados Dalby, for being the first sponsor today, which makes you the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Avocados Dalby dropping a small bullet in the tip jar says, the funniest part about the people saying because his family is conservative, he must also be conservative, is that those are the same people who made a production of telling us how they disown their own entire families for being right-wing. Yes! Yes! That is absolutely right. Those people are clowns. Oh my God. I'm going to steal that. In fact, watch this. Watch this. I'm going to steal it right now. Watch. Watch this. You're going to hate me for this, AD, but, did that work? Can I cut and paste stuff? Copy. Let's see. Let's go on X. Post. It doesn't work. I'll have to do it later. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm still going to steal it. Hey, I don't tweet, so use it as you see fit. Well, I'm damn well going to. I'm still going to do it right now because I don't type fast enough to put that in a tweet. All right. Let's keep going. So anyway, that's why Nick Fuentes. We know why Kash Patel is trending. He's live right now. Lots of people doing memes on Kash Patel saying, he's the worst FBI director ever. I mean, he's as good as the people who work under him. But a lot of the Democrats are really excited to talk to Kash Patel. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. Fani Willis is trending. Now, I know that a lot of people like to call her Fanny. In fact, some people like to call her Big Fanny Willis. But Fani Willis is trending because, breaking news, Fani Willis fiasco is over. The Georgia Supreme Court has ruled that she's finally and officially off the Fulton Trump RICO case. They are not allowed her to do that. Jeff Clark, who is the, OMB acting OIR administrator for CFPB, whatever the hell that is, former U.S. Department of Justice double assistant AG. Anyway, he says, I'm pleased to announce that Fani Willis has now been permanently disqualified from prosecuting the indictment that she brought against President Trump, me, and many others. The Georgia Supreme Court denied cert to Fani Willis, who was attempting to get that court to take her case so that she could try to get undisqualified after the Georgia Court of Appeals threw her off the case. The case now moves to the prosecuting attorney's Georgia Council of Georgia. They will decide on a replacement for Willis. Praise the Lord for progress on this case. It never should have been brought in the first place. So that's why she's trending. That's some more breaking news this morning. Also trending, Pam Bondi. Now this is what I wanted to talk about today. Pam Bondi. Oh my God! Raise your hand if you want Pam Bondi to resign immediately. No, I don't. Here, I'll do this bulwark because they're some of the anti-Trump crowd, but they posted this. Attorney General Pam Bondi's quote. Well, here, let's just play the quote since she's there. It's only 31 seconds long. Pam Bondi said this, I believe yesterday on some podcast, and I am not happy about it.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle. There's free speech and then there's hate speech.
No! That's why this is called No! No! This annoys the ever-living shit out of me. But this happened too when, Pam Bondi was in favor of what the red flag laws, which, if you know something's going to happen, great. Hello, Gizmo, the Bargochuan. Welcome. Munko rules. I don't know what that means. You mean like monkey? Ranting monkey? Welcome. I've never seen your name before, so I'm glad you're here. Anyway, this pisses me off. And I'm going to agree with the Bulwark. Don't always do that, but they go on to say, hate speech is just a fancy way to complain about mean words. Adults should have better things to worry about. If the issue is incitement or violence, then take extra seconds to articulate that. But let's scrap the Orwellian idea of hate speech. Saying something is hate speech means you are making a thought crime, and that's the First Amendment of our Constitution. It's not there to protect the speech you like. It's there to protect the speech you don't like. And I do not, look, hate speech is a woke left concept, as in oppressed, whatever concept, basically. And I don't want the right adopting it. The vile things said about Charlie Kirk in his death are not. Also, remember my nickname is Munko. Oh, gotcha. Okay, I forgot about that. I do not want, because here's the deal. As soon as you start allowing for prosecutions for hate speech is defined by the person who's offended or prosecuting. And they can say anything the fuck they want is hate speech. You cannot do it. You can't. When Cash Patel, whatever he was saying about hate speech in that stupid clip with Senator Hawley, I'm going to go back and watch it later. No. You cannot make thought a crime, no matter how vile it is. And so some people reacting to this, just the Bulwark's post, 3-year Letterman, my favorite account because he's a parody account. If I hate someone's speech, it is illegal. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. If I hate someone's speech, I want it to be illegal. Even Charlie Kirk's own words. Hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. And a lot of people are throwing that quote in her face, and damn well should. We don't need to act like leftists and try to make people's speech illegal. Matt Van Swoll, Charlie would have stood for none of what Pam has said here. The government should make no law infringing on freedom of speech to curtail hate speech in any way. None, zero. This is incredibly disappointing to hear. I'm pissed to hear her say that. No. The appeal to, especially after what happened to Charlie, is emotional leverage. No, it's not. No. The tragic event used to pretext to expand state power, implying that speech is to blame for violence rather than individuals who commit violence. The same logic regimes use when they outlaw dissent because it might cause instability. Someone said it in the chat already. That's what's happening in Great Britain. No. I'm going to keep saying that because that's my quote today. Then comes the threat. We will absolutely target you, go after you. The voice of government claiming authority over thoughts and words. Hate speech is never a fixed category. It's always defined by those in power, and it always expands and includes. Yes, I don't want the executive branch to have even a smidgen of power to do what they're talking about right now. And I don't, especially because of the fact that the same factions are not always in power. Again, this is one of those things. When one side does it, the next side gets in power and they do it to a little bit heavier extent. And then every time it goes back and forth, it gets done a little more. And then you're in shit. You're in shitville. Thank you, Avocado Diablo. Another small bullet in the tip jar. Says the left spent decades telling us hate speech is the thing. Is it any wonder that a large portion of the right who has been raised on that idea is more than willing to just extend it to cover their own speech in return? No, it's not there's no wonder to that at all, but they gotta step so lightly and get off of that train. I don't want that train to leave the station. We cannot be like the left and want to control people's thoughts ever. I dare say it's un-American. Fuck that. Don't fall for it. This is censorship. Don't care what side you're on. Thankfully, there's no legal standing for the term hate speech. Right. Again, here, liberals and conservatives. This is great. Pam, what the fuck are you talking about? Liberals and conservatives agree. I hope that because liberals, some liberals. Well, no, here it is. Liberals are mad about this because now it's pointed at them. But I don't think we should be emulating them. Because they celebrate talking about hate speech. You know, all the some of the LGBTQ activists want laws that make it illegal to say anything bad about them. Some religions, some Christians want to make it illegal to say anything bad about them. Some Muslims want to make it illegal to say anything bad about them. Some far-right extremists want to make it illegal to say anything bad about them. Fuck all of you. That's not America. Ever. Ugh. Michael Schellenberger. Yeah, a lot of people are quoting Charlie Kirk on this, and thank God they are. Nonsense. Supreme Court unanimously reaffirms there is no hate speech exception to the First Amendment. That's from That's from 2017. Amazing MAGA Nation has gone so far right they've become woke leftists. I see a lot of pushback from the right too. I'm the libtard now. Yeah, Pam Bondi, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? So anyway, and that's why she's trending. Here's the topic. Bondi pledges DOJ crackdown on hate speech after Kirk assassination. Hell to the no. And in fact, let's see. Let me see. Here's Megyn Kelly. She's a lawyer. Megyn Kelly says hate speech is not prosecutable in America, which is good. Pam Bondi knows this. I'm guessing, given the statement by Stephen Miller yesterday about targeting violent cells, she means those who actually plan violence, which would not be about the speech, but the conspiracy. Well, I hope that's true. Because if someone's planning conspiracies to do more shit, yeah, you should prosecute them. That's not hate speech, though. That's incitement, that's planning, that's conspiracy, that's everything. But it's not about thought. It's about planned action. Which planning violent action is illegal. But saying bad things about people, and even if you're saying fuck Charlie Kirk, I don't care. And look, I told you my trepidation yesterday about people who have said bad things about Charlie Kirk who are losing their jobs for it. And look, I understand employers don't want shitbag people's working for them. And that's their prerogative in many states. It's right to work laws and shit like that. Hello, TC, by the way. But there's one in particular that I've seen. Where is it? I'm going to see if I can find it. That really has me curious. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I'm pretty sure I will because everyone's talking about it. This woman right here. I'm curious about this. I probably should have had this in the links too. Here, let's do this. Karen Attia. Hang on a second. Let me come back to this. Because this one kind of has, I'll put it in the links too. So this woman named Karen Attia, who worked for the Washington Post, has been fired. Here she is right here. She says, where's her quote? Some news. I've been fired by the Washington Post. We'll put her separate tweet here too. Give me a second. There we go. I've been fired by the Washington Post, but my work will continue anyway. I'm proud of the work I've done at my 11 years at the Post. I believe that using the pen to remember the forgotten, question power, shine light in darkness, and defend democracy. I've never strayed from those values, whatever. Let's see. Okay, she's just talking about her resume, but let's go back to this. So some are saying that she was fired from the Washington Post for sharing a statement made by Charlie Kirk insulting black women, which it's out of context. It's not, he's insulting specific people, not just black women in general. But she claims here, she says, my posts were not even about Kirk directly, but about Americans' apathy towards political violence and the coddling of white male shooters and hate peddlers. Well, right. I was fired because I mentioned race, white men, and violence. That was my gross misconduct. Read for yourself. Here's the letter from the Washington Post to Karen Attia. Karen, I'm writing to inform you that the Post is terminating your employment effective immediately for gross misconduct. Your public comments on social media regarding the death of Charlie Kirk violate the Post's social media policies, harm the integrity of our organization, and potentially endanger the physical safety of our staff. Among other requirements, the company-wide social media policy mandates that all employees' social media postings be respectful and prohibit postings that disparage people based on their race, gender, or other protected characteristics. Are white men included on that? Interesting. The Washington Post. Remember, the Washington Post is very left-wing newspaper. The policy also reminds employees that everything they post is a reflection of the company and should not affect the integrity of the Post journalism. Your postings on Blue Sky, which clearly identify you as a Post columnist, about white men in response to the killing of Charlie Kirk, do not comply with our policy. For example, you posted, quote, refusing to tear my clothes and smear ashes on my face in the performative mourning for a white man that espoused violence is not the same as violence. And, quote, part of what keeps America so violent is the insistence that people perform care, empty goodness, and absolution for white men who espouse hatred and violence. Oh, so everyone's acting like she's so innocent. They're saying that she got fired for quoting Charlie Kirk, but they mentioned the post that she was mentioned. Now, do I think she should have been fired for it? Nope. Nope. I think the Washington Post should have ate it and owned it. In addition, just last year, Opinions leadership asked everyone in the Opinions department to review the newsroom's social media guidelines, attached those guidelines to an email to the department for review, and reiterated that email, the bedrock principle that our use of social media must never harm the journalistic integrity or reputation of the Post. The poor judgment exhibited by your public comments regarding Charlie Kirk's arise against the backdrop of documented performance concerns, which have been raised with you. Given these concerns and in the light of your recent unacceptable Blue Sky post, we cannot tolerate the risk your performance poses to the Post. And then they continue. Please remove any reference to your affiliation with the Washington Post on any public facing profiles immediately. You will receive a separate letter from the Post Benefits Department concerning your eligibility for any other post benefits upon termination, blah, blah, blah. Signed, Wayne Caudell, Chief HR Officer of the Washington Post. So it's a question of whether or not she violated their policy. And someone puts, the irony that Karen Attiah is fired right before Robert Redford passes away should be lost on no one. Well, why? Because he played a character in a movie? What the fuck does that have anything to do with it? When journalists tell the truth and their employers lie, we have Watergate level crisis on our hands. What did they lie about? They just said basically they fired her for her post. Whatever. I'm not sure why she did that. Thank you, Avocados Diablo. He sponsors the show again. You are awesome. Avocados Diablo, another small bullet in the tip jar. 223 says, leave the meeting out of karma for the Dokabi, I say. That is their job. I don't know what the Dokabi is, but yes, of course. That's 100% correct because you are often 100% correct. Say it with me. Actions have consequences. Let's see. Someone here says, someone named Wanda Gilbert says, I know exactly what the hell you sick demonic ass said. It is right here. It's in the, again, okay, so their policy is, did she use race to demean somebody? And so this is what she said, refusing to tear my clothes and smear ashes on my face in performative mourning for a white man that espoused violence is not the same as violence. And the other one, part of what keeps America so violent is the insistence that people perform care, empty goodness, and absolution for white men who espouse hatred and violence. Does that sound like it's against their policy? Well, they thought it was. The problem is too that she didn't treat it as her personal social media account, but she put the Washington Post name on it, and maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know, but it's fascinating that a liberal rag like the Washington Post would have fired her for that. And the last thing I'm going to talk about today is Marco Rubio, who's also trending. Why is this not going? There we go. Apparently, Rubio has ordered visa revocation for foreigners celebrating the Kirk assassination. This can be appropriate, to be honest with you. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced on September 16th that the U.S. will revoke visas and deport foreign nationals publicly celebrating the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who was killed on September 10th in Arizona by a lone gunman. Arizona, it was in Utah. Grok is not the most accurate aggregator, or whatever. By a lone gunman with apparent political motives. The policy, justified as a safeguard for American values against glorification of violence, relies on social media monitoring and follows Rubio's earlier revocations targeting student protesters and Chinese students over security issues. Legal experts confirm immigration law allows such actions for threats to public safety amid ongoing investigation into Kirk's death and his upcoming funeral. So, interesting. And then someone says, then they got a quote here's Rubio himself.
We are not in the business of inviting people to visit our country.
Keep playing. What the hell happened there?
Who are going to be involved in negative and destructive behavior. Okay? So.
Holy shit. He needs to clarify that a little more. Hello, Judafine. What's up? Welcome back. He needs to clarify that. I mean, it can't. Negative and destructive behavior is so fucking subjective. Now, if there's someone out there saying Charlie Kirk deserved to be shot in the throat and killed or whatever, it says they should do more, then you got to be concerned. I'm really struggling. People on visas also have First Amendment rights to our Constitution. It's not just for, that you're on a slippery, well, I hate saying slippery slope, but it's a slippery slope. And it's so subjective. If there's specific things, no, they don't. Oh, sure they do. But visas are conditional. That is correct also. So, right. So they can't be like, the one dude from Colombia that they, were doing the whole Palestinian thing and he's organizing protests and stuff like that. There's a perfectly valid reason to revoke his visa. Okay. Saying I hated Charlie Kirk, not necessarily valid reason to revoke a visa. But if he says Charlie Kirk should have died and more people like him should be murdered, then yes, that's a good reason to revoke a visa. It's they got to be careful. I'm just saying.
Why should if we invite someone to visit the United States of America as a student, I
agree with. By the way, I agree with Rubio on this point. I'm just saying, you got to be careful.
Then they have the standard they should be held to is very high. We shouldn't be.
Ding. The standard they should be held to is high. So they got to, but again, got to be
bringing people into this country. We should not be giving visas to people who are going to come to the United States and do things like celebrate the murder, the execution, the assassination of a political figure. We should not. And if they're
that's
already
true.
here, we should be revoking their visa. We are not in the business.
All right. That at least clarifies what he said. I didn't listen to what he said. So I'm not visa verifications are underway. If you are here on a visa and cheering on the public assassination of a political figure, prepare to be deported. You are not welcome in this country. Hard to argue against that. All right. So in the articles today that I haven't gotten to, it's all Charlie Kirk today. FBI investigated social media accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of Kirk's assassination. Federal Bureau of Investigation is investigating social media posts by at least 7 different accounts that appeared to indicate foreknowledge of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, according to 3 people familiar with the investigation, and screenshots obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. The post, one of which referenced the date of Kirk's assassination, September 10th, more than a month before it took place, were all deleted in the days following the killing. Several of the accounts appear to belong to transgender individuals, and at least one of them followed suspect Tyler Robinson's roommate, with whom Robinson has allegedly a relationship on TikTok. That's a poorly functioned sentence. Robin was in a relationship. The person followed that person on TikTok, but the way they wrote it made it sound like the person with the relationship was on TikTok. No. But anyway, the FBI received archived copies of the post, according to a person who flagged them for the agency. Screenshots of the post had been circulating online and had not been previously authenticated. While the posts do not establish that any of the individuals knew or conspired with Robinson, the 22-year-old gunman who allegedly shot Kirk, several of them mentioned the conservative activist by name and fantasized about his death. So here's one, Donald Trump, December 14th. It'd be funny if someone like Charlie Kirk got shot on September 10th. I plead the fifth. September 10th will be a very interesting day. I saw that one a while ago. Anyway, several of these accounts had posts like that. And then here, we fucking did it. Charlie Kirk has died at the age of 31 after being shot, Trump announces. Some of the accounts under investigation appear to be associated with LGBT subcultures. Look, not all LGBT, just a small faction of T's in this one. One individual, Osamu bin Tezuka, used the X handle Fojo Shinsel, a reference to the genre of anime that depicts romantic relationships between men. Okay, whatever. So anyway, that's one of the headlines exclusive to the Washington Free Beacon. Daily Wire, suspect's DNA is attached to the weapon. Okay. They're just dotting their I's and crossing their T's. Breitbart, mourners around the world show love for Charlie Kirk. Yeah, this is worldwide. There's a lot of people who like Charlie Kirk around the world and in a lot of different countries. Vigils were held around the world for slain free speech advocate and Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk, offering poignant demonstrations that the power of his ideas reached far beyond America's borders and that good people around the world can unite in mourning for a young husband and father. Here's one in Spain. In Madrid, the vigil for Charlie Kirk began within hours of his murder and grew steadily on Tuesday. The rally outside the U.S. Embassy, where participants chanted Kirk's name and then observed a moment of silence in his memory. And they're just going and showing lots of different places where they had rallies for him in South Korea and United Kingdom, Sydney, Australia. There are a lot of them, so pretty cool. You can check that out. Also in Breitbart, now I'm not sure about this one. West Hollywood, which banned Trump from speaker, lowers rainbow flags to half staff for Charlie Kirk. Really? The city of West Hollywood, California, a haven for the LGBTQ community, lowered its rainbow flags at half staff in memory of conservative activist Charlie Kirk 9 years after it banned Trump from speaking. Okay, wait a minute. An open letter to 87 other mayors in Los Angeles County and in an op-ed for The Advocate, West Hollywood Mayor Lindsay Horvath wrote that the Republican presidential frontrunner would be barred from making campaign appearances. Okay, that's back from when they banned Trump. Here we go. Remarkably, West Hollywood has taken a different approach with Charlie Kirk, who was critical of the LGBTQ plus movement, though the city has also taken criticism, as Pink News reported. The city of West Hollywood has responded to a backlash over the decision to lower the LGBTQ pride flags at half-mast in a tribute to right-wing pundit Charlie Kirk, who was shot dead in Utah last week. Among those lowered to what Americans call half-staff, 2 were LGBTQ plus pride flags outside the VCA TLC Animal Hospital on Santa Monica Boulevard. So this is a specific business. A spokesperson said the action was undertaken in accordance with the city's policy for recognition of memorials, which acknowledges that the city follows the direction of the president in determining when flags in the city are flown at half staff. So they're mad that the LGBTQ flags were included in that celebration of Charlie's life. Kirk also defended LGBTQ conservatives against extremists who said they could not be in the movement. So yeah, he did. I mean, he had a record of that. People forget that. Oh, he's hateful. But he also, all the people he is supposed to hate, he seemed to embrace at various times. All right, let me see here. Federalist, GLAAD smears Charlie Kirk, puts a target on the back of other conservative activists. A GLAAD spokesman smeared conservative Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated Wednesday while speaking at Utah Valley University, as someone who spreads infinite amount of disinformation about LGBTQ people. What misinformation? His opinion? GFY. And then let's see. I want you to read the statement. This is Chloe Cole. GLAAD put out. I want you to read the statement that GLAAD put out so you all understand that it isn't just a fringe group on the left that is justifying the murder of Charlie Kirk. This is a multi-million-dollar institution that accused Charlie of spreading lies and vitriol. Let me see the rest of the post here. Vitriol through Riley Gaines, Pastor Junsun Yu, and I. Naming 3 of us in this statement is putting a target on our backs, and it normalizes the violence that took place in Utah. They do not care if we die because they think we are Nazis. This is the reality of a large amount of the Democratic Party in America. Chloe Cole is the former once transitioned, as in Dee's transition, has been out speaking in speaking engagements about her ordeal of being medicalized at a young age. GLAAD stressed the extent to which Kirk and Turning Point promoted anti-LGBTQ narratives. The group highlighted Turning Point's college campus campaigns featuring speakers such as Riley Gaines, Chloe Cole, and Pastor Junsun Yu, who regularly spoke against transgender people. No, against transgender ideology and transitioning of kids, which should not happen. And should not supersede the rights of natal women and men, for that matter. So anyway, that's that. Daily Caller, left-wing protesters disrupt Charlie Kirk visit with a song engraved on the alleged assassin's bullet. These assholes. So that that means nothing to me. Yeah, some dickhead was being a dickhead at a protest because they're a dickhead. News at 11. Ilmar Omar reacts to Charlie Kirk's murder with her characteristic graciousness. What did she say? Where's the quote? Scrolling through here, appeared, blah, blah, blah. She said, started out well. It was really mortifying to hear the news. All I could think about was his wife, his children. That image is going to live forever. She even went so far to say that her heart breaks for Kirk's children. But then she continued with a but. But what I do know for sure is that Charlie Kirk was someone who once said guns saved lives after a school shooting. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police, downplay slavery and what black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist. Then she noted that a lot of people who are out there talking about Kirk just wanting to have civil debates, whereupon Hassan erupted to claim that this was a complete rewriting of history. No, never mind. Fuck these people. You can read it yourself. Texas Senate candidate Colin Allred holds voter registration drive at a Dallas church as a pastor attacks Charlie Kirk. That's in the Washington Free Beacon, Breitbart. Virginia Imam said the world's a better place without Charlie Kirk, who died disrespecting black people. Well, isn't he special? And it's funny because if you go through a lot of these clips, or actually not just clips of Charlie Kirk, because the clips often are manipulated to make it either sound the worst it possibly could or the best it possibly could. That's not saying that everything he said was great and things were terrible, but whenever you see those clips, you got to go and see the entire discussion to really understand what it's about. And my personal opinion, there's other articles, but I'm not going to go through them all. My personal opinion, after spending more time actually listening to a lot of Charlie Kirk's, full on comments about things, is that he was a good guy that had compassion for a lot of people he disagreed with. Yeah, he didn't like the word empathy because he preferred the words compassion and sympathy. Because that's one of the quotes going around. Oh, he said he hates empathy. Well, we're not going to give him any. The whole quote is, he doesn't like the word empathy. I can feel your pain. I prefer compassion and sympathy. No one ever seems to like to add that part. So anyway. All right. That, my friends, is it for today. Tomorrow's hump day. And we will hump on over there. Different name, different use of the term there, obviously, than you were expecting. And do the show again. So thanks for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. Here are the links from today. There's a bunch of them, plus the aggregator. There's a lot of stories in the aggregator. I didn't even look at the headlines yet. Here are today's, if I could type, links from the show in the chat, and they'll be in the description of this video /stream in a moment. So you all have a rant. I can't even talk. Y'all have a fantastic and blessed day. Gotta go. My name's PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Thanks for being here. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thanks for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.